Olympic National Park is located along the Olympic Peninsula in Washington in the Pacific Northwest. My grandpa and I visited Olympic National Park during June of 2022, and here are a few highlights from our visit to Olympic National Park. We first entered Olympic National Park along US 101 as we were making our way up the Olympic Peninsula from Aberdeen, Washington. When we got to the town of Forks, we turned left onto Washington State Route 110 and followed it all the way to the ocean, where we met Rialto Beach. This section of Olympic National Park is completely cut off from the rest of the park and is only located along the coastline of the Pacific Ocean here in Washington State. As we got out of the car and made our way over to the beach, we noticed it was filled with thousands of logs. This is commonly known as the Timber Graveyard here in Olympic National Park. It is truly a very unique sight here that you don't really see anywhere else. Rialto Beach experiences some of the most dramatic storm surges of any beach along the Pacific coast. The waves become so powerful here that they uproot trees and pile them along the shoreline during high tide, creating a graveyard or timber graveyard that you see here along the beach. We couldn't have asked for better conditions to drive up along the Washington coast here, as it was completely sunny and no fog, and you could literally see for miles. It was truly a perfect day here exploring Olympic National Park. After exploring Rialto Beach, we made our way to the Salt Duck Hot Springs in Olympic National Park. At the time of recording this video, it was my grandpa's 73rd birthday, and I thought it would be a great birthday present to have him soak here in the mineral-rich hot springs. They have several different pools here with varying degrees of temperature, so you can pick which one you like best and soak in the mineral-rich waters. And this is our time here at the Salt Duck Hot Springs. What did you think?
Really nice.
Highly recommend coming here.
Feels good.
It's a little pricey, and they do charge you for towels, which is kind of annoying, but I'd say it's worth coming here.
Yeah, it is. I enjoyed it. Feels good. Feels good on my old bones.
Happy 73rd birthday.
Thank you.
After spending the day in Olympic National Park exploring Rialto Beach and the Salt Duck Hot Springs, we made our way into the city of Port Angeles, which is where we spent the night between our 2 days visiting Olympic National Park. We checked into our hotel, which was right along the Strait of Juan de Fuca, and offered great views out towards the strait and into Canada, as well as views of Mount Baker out in the distance. It was truly one of the best hotels we stayed at just for the scenic views alone. There was a pier there which led to an observation tower, which I quickly climbed to get awesome views of the Olympic Mountains right behind our hotel in the city of Port Angeles. It's truly an awesome sight to see, and was a great preview of our next day in Olympic National Park, as we would be seeing amazing views of the Olympic Mountains on Hurricane Ridge the next day. The first thing we did the next day was checked out of our hotel and then made our way up to Hurricane Ridge from Port Angeles. It takes about 30 minutes to drive to Hurricane Ridge from Port Angeles, and you will gain a little over 5,000 feet above sea level on your journey up to Hurricane Ridge in Olympic National Park. We got there about 9 a.m. on a Sunday in June, and there was still plenty of parking available. Be sure to come here early though, because this is one of the most popular spots in Olympic National Park, and for good reason, as the views up here are truly spectacular. Right away when we first got to the parking lot, the first thing we noticed was deer grazing in the meadow just behind the visitor center here. So we quickly got out of our car and approached the meadow and kept a safe distance and just captured these awesome moments of these deer just grazing here in the meadow. There were about a half dozen deer just grazing in the meadow right here, and then there were several dozen people just taking pictures and videos with their cameras and cell phones just of all the deer that were grazing right here. What's amazing is that the deer didn't even seem to mind that there were dozens of people just staring at them. They just kept doing their own thing. We probably spent about 20 minutes here just taking different pictures and videos of all the deer that we saw here near the visitor center. Right here you can see how close the deer got to many of the people that were walking on this path right here. They didn't even seem to mind that the people were just there staring at them. After spending some time there just enjoying the views of the deer there along that meadow, we made our way over to the Hurricane Ridge Visitor Center and were treated to just amazing, spectacular views of the Olympic Mountains right before our very eyes. The views here of the mountains are a sight to behold in person, and let me tell you, no camera can do justice just how awesome these views are. Despite receiving over 400 inches of snow annually, Hurricane Ridge is kept open year-round because it is very popular in the wintertime for backcountry skiing and cross-country skiing, as well as snowmobiling here in Olympic National Park. It's no secret that the Olympic Peninsula receives some of the highest precipitation totals in the lower 48, and as a result, the Olympic Mountains have a lot more snow on them than their elevations would suggest. Olympic National Park was first established as Mount Olympus National Monument on March 2, 1909. Mount Olympus National Monument would be redesignated as Olympic National Park on June 29, 1938. The national park was designated by UNESCO as an International Biosphere Reserve in 1976, and later in 1981 became a World Heritage Site. One thing to note is that these videos were filmed in June of 2022 and don't reflect the current conditions found here at Hurricane Ridge. Sadly, on May 7, 2023, the visitor center was destroyed by a fire and the area was temporarily closed. The visitor center there originally opened in 1952. Mount Olympus is straight out there. That's it right there. It's the highest point in the Olympic Mountains and Olympic National Park. You could also see Blue Glacier up there on the mountain. Mount Olympus reaches a maximum elevation of 7,980 feet and, as previously mentioned, is the highest point in Olympic National Park as well as the Olympic Mountains. Mount Olympus has the greatest glaciation of any non-volcanic peak in the contiguous United States outside of the Cascade Range. The largest glacier on Mount Olympus is the Hoh Glacier, which is just over 3 miles long. The Olympic Mountains are home to the largest temperate rainforest in North America, and areas such as the Hoh Rainforest receive an average of 130 inches of rain a year. After checking out the amazing views there at the Hurricane Ridge Visitor Center, we made our way over to another ridge which gave us awesome views out towards the Strait of Juan de Fuca and out towards Vancouver Island and Victoria in Canada. On our way over there, we were treated to more amazing views of these deer just grazing here in this meadow. It's really amazing how close they get to the camera right here as they're just passing along the path there as they make their way over to the other side of the meadow. This particular clip right here looks like something straight out of National Geographic with the awesome views of the Olympic Mountains in the background there. Out of all my experiences in national parks over the years, this is by far the best one I've ever got of wildlife. It's truly amazing just to see how tame these animals are here next to all these people just taking pictures of them and just staring at them. They don't even seem to mind that we're there. This overlook looking north from Hurricane Ridge offers amazing views of Port Angeles, the Strait of Juan de Fuca, Vancouver Island, Victoria, and beyond. It is truly one of the most spectacular viewpoints on a clear day here in Olympic National Park. The views were so spectacular from this viewpoint right here that you could see well over 100 miles out into the distance and seeing many of the mountains that surround the city of Vancouver, British Columbia. This was my first time seeing Victoria, British Columbia, which is located on the south end of Vancouver Island. Victoria serves as the provincial capital of British Columbia and is named after Queen Victoria. I couldn't believe my eyes as I was basically seeing the Canadian Cascades in full view. I'm not sure what that high peak out in the distance is, but if I had to take a guess, it's probably Mount Garibaldi along the Sea to Sky Highway. These views here from Hurricane Ridge solidified Olympic National Park as my second favorite national park that I've ever been to, after only Yosemite National Park in California. After spending a good 2 hours up here at Hurricane Ridge in Olympic National Park, we begun our drive down Hurricane Ridge Road as we made our way back towards the city of Port Angeles. As we were making our way down Hurricane Ridge Road, we stopped along the side of the road to get these awesome videos and pictures of this bear that was just along the side of the road here as we were making our way down. My grandpa and I sure got really lucky with how much wildlife we saw here in Olympic National Park. As we continue to make our way down Hurricane Ridge Road, we stopped at a scenic pullout which offered even more great views out towards the Strait of Juan de Fuca and Victoria, British Columbia. It really just amazed me how clear of a day it actually was, that you could see literally every building in town, as well as the spectacular mountains out in the distance. It was truly a perfect day to visit Olympic National Park. You also get really good views of Mount Baker if it's a clear day from this vista point as well. We got really spoiled with the weather here on this trip, that's for sure. Mount Baker is the northernmost major volcano in the Cascade Range in the United States. Mount Baker is the third highest point in Washington State and the fifth highest point in the Cascade Range overall, and sits 10,786 feet above sea level. Olympic National Park is one of the most diverse national parks in the United States. From the amazing coastal views, to the temperate rainforests, to the amazing mountains that seem to reach up into the sky. My grandpa and I only spent 2 days exploring Olympic National Park, and that's nowhere near enough time to truly experience everything that this park has to offer. I recommend taking a day each to explore the coastal sections of the park, and then another day exploring the temperate rainforests, and then a whole day just exploring the high country up here by Hurricane Ridge to truly experience everything that this park has to offer. I really wish we had more time, but I would love to come back someday and explore more of the park. Even just driving through the park along Highway 101 as you make your way around the Olympic Peninsula is truly an amazing drive. We sure got lucky with the weather because blue skies here are incredibly rare even in the summertime. So just be aware you may not have the same weather we did when you visit this park. What are some of your favorite places to visit in Olympic National Park? Be sure to let me know in the comments. I really hope you enjoyed this video of me and my grandpa's time exploring Olympic National Park here in Washington. Be sure to stay tuned to the next adventure, and we will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching.